What's up, people? Welcome to the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'm James, as always, joined with this co-host, Kaelyn. How's it going?
Pretty good. Long time no see. I know,
right?
It feels like forever because I didn't see you last week, but
yeah, we took a week off. It happens periodically. You know, it's okay. MMA still happens. It still goes on. And that's what we're here to discuss. Exactly. Tonight, Bellator, Salter versus Mousasi. I'm excited about that main event. The rest of the card, as I was looking through it, I was like, whoa, I can't pronounce any of these names. So this is going to be quite the struggle. I know I have difficulty with names, but this is going to be even worse. And I look forward to Mousasi. I'm a huge Mousasi fan.
Too.
But versus John Salter, I'm like, man, that dude, he trained in Fresno for a period of time. You know, he was here. So I'm like, man, I really appreciate the guys that have come through here.
That's pretty cool, huh?
And people that were local at one point. I really appreciate that, but this could be a hard fight.
I saw him a bunch of times at D-Throne. That's where I saw him at a long time ago.
That's where he trained
years ago, but that was kind of cool.
Completely agree. And that fight is going on tonight, so we're going to go ahead and get that going. So we're going to do our picks like we always do. We have Andre Korshakov versus Sabah Mahasi. Sabah Mahasi. Here we go. I was trying to that didn't work. We have 23-4 against 15-9. Ooh.
Yeah.
Based off that, I have to go with the experience because 15-9, like, come on. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with Andre.
I would probably pick him either way, I think.
All right.
I have to go for the Russians, so it's a must. Always.
True.
Always.
Very true. Hey, those Russians are dominant. And here we have another Russian.
Yeah.
Nurmagomedov versus Stotts. 18-1 versus 16-1. I gotta go Russia on that one too.
Yeah. Me as well. Yes.
All right.
I don't know who the other guy is, to be honest. I don't know.
I don't know either, but he's 16-1. He's from the USA. He's 5'6" and weighs 135 pounds.
Yeah.
That's about all I know, unfortunately.
This will probably be a good fight. This is a good matchup here. When I notice, when you have guys that are roughly the same experience, same height, same weight. Well, of course, same weight, but they have the same attributes. It usually ends up being a very good fight.
You're right about that, and just wait till you see the record on this next bout that we're going to check out.
Okay.
Franklin versus Cummings.
All right.
3-0 against 15-0.
Well, sometimes you just gotta throw him in there.
Yeah, but who's Franklin fighting that he's 3-0 and is going to compete against somebody that's 15-0? Like, really?
Okay, but heavyweights, things are always sketchy in that division anyway.
That's true. That's true.
I think you could really only get away with it in that division and think it's okay. I don't know.
There was one time I saw a huge weight disparity, and it was at a catch weight, and it was actually at a local fight. It was a pure combat fight years ago. And so they had it was a heavyweight, like a super heavyweight versus a light heavy. And that was all bad.
No, an almost heavyweight. Oh, no.
Yeah, all bad. But they let the fight happen, and it is what it is.
Okay, man.
Yeah, and the light heavyweight fighter won. That's the thing. The super heavyweight fighter was not that great.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Good times.
I mean, that's what you get in that division, though. That's what you get, man. You can get those crazy matchups. But the thing is, anything could happen as well. You don't know. Like, they equally knockout power. Someone's going to sleep, or you would hope.
Very true.
Most cases,
now,
yeah.
Who do you expect to win this fight? Who do you think is going to win? What is your pick?
I don't know. Don't know these guys. I'll probably go for Everett Cummings because, experience, I guess. If I have to take a guess, this was involving money, I would take Everett Cummings for this one.
Just based off experience alone, like
Yeah,
he has double-digit
consider that.
fights, and this dude doesn't even have 5 fights to his name.
To his name. That's
Like,
what, you don't know. So we don't know.
Yep,
But
you're
you would
right.
have to go with Everett Cummings for the experience factor.
Now we're going to go to the middleweight division. Ty Werder
Yeah.
versus. I'm done.
Kodzi, I think.
Kodzi, that's what I was thinking, but I keep reading it differently. We have 5-2 versus 10-4.
Okay.
Another lopsided match, but this time in the middleweight division. Both are from the U.S. I'd have to go.
Yeah.
Kodzi has double the fights.
He does, yeah.
So I'll have to go him. At least he's in double digits in his record.
I'll have to go with him as well, just because the experience. And I don't know their background, so. Yep.
All right. Now we're going to move on. Main event.
When you see the experience on paper, you're like, what the fuck,
Yeah, it's so lopsided. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, but it's John Salter, so you got to have a little bit of confidence in him, of course. But Gegard Mousasi, though, that's a good fight for him. That's interesting.
Yeah. And Mousasi's been fighting for a long time. This is really Salter's big opportunity to really show the national audience what he has. I mean, he's competed on many Bellator cards.
Yeah.
But that was basically building his way up to this moment. This is really his
time.
moment.
This is his time right now. So, if there's going to be any time, it would be now. So we'll see. It's Gegard Mousasi. So, a lot of people are going to probably pick him. But, you never know what's going to happen. And when you have a guy that's been fighting for a long time and gets his chance to headline and to go against a guy like Gegard Mousasi, anything could happen still too. I'm going for John Salter, so
that's your pick.
See. Yeah, I'm gonna pick him. We'll see what happens.
All right, I want to pick him too. He's a guy who's come through our area, and he's a great wrestler. That's the thing. That's where he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna dominate and be able to take down Mousasi. But because you pick Salter, I will pick Mousasi just to be different.
Well, no, I'll still go John.
But that's the thing. If you picked Grigorieff, I would pick Salter. So I got to go against the grain on that. But either way, I think this is Salter's time to shine. I actually hope he wins. He's not my pick for the card, but I do hope he wins because it would be great.
That would be. What a good story. And then you work so hard to get your way up there. And now if there's going to be any time, it would be now. He's got some good experience also. So it's not like they're throwing him in there either.
Yep.
But Mousasi, you got to have all your bases covered. But I think, anything could happen. I'm rooting for him, so I'll pick him.
All right. So we got our picks for Bellator. We are done with that. And then we're going to move on to... We're just going to talk about the heavyweight fight at UFC 265 where Cyril Gahn beat Derek Lewis in the 3rd round. Were you really surprised?
Are you surprised?
I'm not because with Lewis, he has to be quick. If you you take him further into the deeper rounds, he just doesn't. I don't feel like he has the cardio. He doesn't hold up.
Right.
And that's why I'm not surprised.
But Derek Lewis, going into this fight, I was going for Derek Lewis.
I was going for Derek Lewis too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but because he has been a lot faster lately in these past, couple fights, I thought he could seriously do it. I underestimated how fast Cyril Gahn was. He's such in good shape. He's got good cardio. He has good movement. He's fast, Derek Lewis, he's faster than he was, but against Cyril Gahn, it's like, man. Well, this one was kind of weird too. I don't know why there was a belt involved with this fight. Super confusing. I don't know if anyone knows the answer. Why did Dana White ever say why he made a belt? I just know he has issues with Francis. No one knows what it is. I don't know. And
From all the stuff that I've seen and heard, it's basically the idea that it's going to build up to a bigger fight between these two because you'll have champion versus champion.
Okay, but you totally rushed that process, and it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
What do you need a belt for?
Dana White feels like it's going to be this big super fight. I'm like, that's me though. I mean, there could be other fans out there that are like, yes. I highly doubt it.
I know, but you have any heavyweight title fight, that's a big deal. You don't really need to add an extra fake belt in there to unify. I mean, Francis Ngannou didn't fight that long ago either. It's not like he's been out forever and he's not injured. It's very weird. And then they kept saying that they want to have this fight in France. It's like, okay, that's cool. I'm all for that. But if you're trying to build this up and then you don't have it in Vegas, it's like,
they should have that heavyweight fight should be in Vegas. Now, with all the struggles that Ngannou went through, could you imagine if they were like, let's have it in Africa, and you'd be like, hard pass.
He's like, dude, I escaped there once. I really got to go back.
He's all, do you not know my story? Really?
Oh God, dude, his story is crazy.
He's all, man, F it, just take the title. Screw this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I do look forward to that fight. I think it's ridiculous that they're going to do.
I think the whole process here was wrong.
The whole interim heavy. I feel like it should have been, if anything, for more of a number one contender. Like this guy wins, he gets the next fight. Instead, you're giving him ideally a fake title, and then he'll get the opportunity.
He's gonna get the opportunity no matter what. You got to add a fake belt.
Yeah, but he just threw it. Yeah,
that's precisely it. I feel like that devalues the belt itself. It's like, come on, you need to keep some kind of like sanctity on that belt. You don't just hand them out. It hasn't been.
It seemed like it for a hot minute. It seemed like, oh, he's out. Oh, interim, yay! Like that's their favorite word.
What? I can understand if he was injured. He's not injured. Makes no sense. And then I think France is the wrong move because I don't think they have a date, but France is pretty messed up right now. I don't think anyone wants to go there. I don't think people can go there because of the restrictions for, COVID and stuff. I think that's all the wrong moves. I hope it's in Vegas. It should be in Vegas. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not any more excited because he threw a fake belt in there whatsoever.
Yeah, same here. Completely agree.
He could win. So interesting, though. Cyril Gane could win, though. This is going to be a good fight, though, I think.
I think so, too. But, man, I mean, we're going to talk about it more, of course, as the whole card develops. But Ngannou, man, like, that guy's got bricks in his hands. That dude's literally a monster.
He is.
He scares the boogeyman. Let's be honest. So I do look forward to this fight. If it's an idea of a title versus title, no.
Worthless. But what's funny is UFC had to make Francis Ngannou his own custom gloves. He's so big.
I've heard about that. I've heard situations like that.
That is it's hilarious.
Like Brock Lesnar, when he fought, his glove was gigantic.
Yes. Yeah.
That is nuts. But there is a fight night this weekend, and so we're going to move on and discuss that. A pretty interesting fight card. Looking at this main card that they have on their website, the one thing I noticed was there was no female fights on this main card. And that's what we're going to focus on is the main card. I didn't look at the prelims, so I hope there's a female fight there, but I was really surprised they don't have I imagine so, but I'm surprised they don't have a female fight on the main card.
Sometimes you can't just throw any fight in there just because they're female, though. If there's no interesting fights and the ladies are not ready to fight right now against who they should be fighting against, you can't do it. You can't just throw a random into a main card. I don't think. I mean, they have before, but if you want to keep it interesting against guys that have fights that will matter in the end of them, gaining something out of it. You throw two girls in there that fight each other that aren't ranked. It's like, well, what are we doing? So I understand.
I do and I don't. I feel like they should have at least had one female fight, because some of these fighters, I'll be honest, there are some ranked fighters fighting, great, but there's some fighters I've never heard of, and so I think it'd be better to have a more of an unknown female fight going, because then that could be more exciting.
True.
that could put them on display and really build up their reputation.
They normally do, right?
Everyone's fighting for a spot. I get that, but I just thought, to mix it up a little bit.
Right, and they normally do. So I guess maybe this time it's just, you never know. Maybe they had one and it didn't work out.
Very true. Very true. All right, we have, I'll say it how I think it's pronounced, Mana Martinez versus Trevin Jones in a bantamweight bout.
That one, you know what? Trevin Jones, I think, came from the Contender Series, and I think I watched that. So, man, all those guys that come from there have been pretty big stars so far and have really big potential. Because, that Contender Series, probably already said this a bunch of times, but you have to win, excitingly to win that contract. You can win. You cannot be boring. He might not give you that contract still. You got to win with, a knockout or a finish. That's also exciting. So I always love those guys that come out of there. And the girls too. Macy Barber came out of there. I've been a huge fan of her, and she's been doing really well too. So I feel like everyone that's come out of that series really is they really put it out there and made it worth it.
All right. So who do you take between Martinez and Jones?
I don't know much about Martinez, but I'll go for Trevin Jones.
Take Jones. All right. And you know what? I will take Jones as well. Moving up the card, we have Alex Pandoja versus Brandon Royval.
Yeah.
Number 3 versus number 6, 23-5 versus 12-5.
Wow.
Alex is coming off of a win. Brandon is coming off of a loss. Brazil versus United States in the flyweight division.
Oh, okay. I feel like I haven't seen any flyweight fights in a while. This should be cool.
I feel like it has been a minute too.
They've been absent for a while. I haven't seen any flyweights. There's been a bunch of bantamweights, but
at least fighters of note, honestly, because we had Cejudo as a champ for a hot minute, so he was the most exciting thing. What about, wasn't it Moreno the champ of flyweights?
He is now. He beat.
That was the last big deal we heard about as pertaining to the flyweight division.
Yeah, he beat Figueiredo a while back. So I'm kind of excited to see who he fights next. I don't know if he's injured or anything, but I don't think so. I haven't heard anything, but it's kind of cool to see the flyweights back. It's been a while, so be interesting. And they are ranked. It looks like
number 3 and number 6.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably gonna go for Pantoja because of the experience, also ranked a little bit higher. But we'll see. I think I'm gonna go with the Cannibal. That's
I completely agree. I feel like the experience factor is a huge thing for me in picking him. So I too am also going to pick Alex Pantoja to get the win. And then we have, I want to say Vince, but there's no E.
I think it's Vince. I'm not sure.
Vince Pickle. Or
Pichel? Maybe?
Shell.
I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow how they say it.
Right? I'll just call him Vince. Versus Austin Hubbard. And his nickname's From Hell.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think it would be epic if he had a gigantic devil tattoo. Just being honest. Yeah. Now, here's two fighters with similar records, though. We have 13-2 and 13-5. Both coming off of wins. Wow. Vince does not like to use a submission. Homeboy swings for the fences.
Yeah. Oh.
But yet it's funny, he has no submissions, yet his takedown average is pretty high.
Yeah, it is.
That's a trip. That's really weird. For a guy that does so much going for a submission and he doesn't have any submission wins, I'm actually quite shocked by that.
Well.
All right. Do you pick Austin Hubbard or Vince?
I'll go with Austin Hubbard. I've seen him. I think I've seen his last fight. I don't remember which one that was, but I've seen him fight before, and I think I thought I was impressed because I remember that last name. So I'm just gonna pick him based off of that, and I don't know anything about Vince.
Wow, Hubbard. Just literally off the last name. All right, I'm gonna go with Vince then because
I remember these names as I'm watching these fights, and just from like the announcers repeating themselves so many times and the commentators. But I think I remember. So lame. I think I remember he did pretty well, so we'll see.
I'm going off of the nickname From Hell.
Okay.
And the better fight record, 13-2 compared to the 13-5, even though that fight record is similar, just 3 losses added to Austin Hubbard's record compared to Vince's. So I'm going to go with that. Moving up the card, we have a heavyweight bout. Parker Porter versus Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla. How many Vanilla Gorillas are there? Like, I feel like this dude just fought.
Not the same one, is it? We had a different one last time.
I was like, wait a minute. Last time we discussed this, I remember a different dude named the Vanilla Gorilla. I feel like this has become a... I don't believe so. I could be wrong.
I think it's a different guy. That's crazy.
I think so. they need to figure out their nicknames. This is starting to get a little ridiculous. A lot of people have the same stuff.
They should have a thing in UFC. If someone has it, you cannot have that. And it goes based off experience.
That's it. 11-6 versus 15-7. Porter's coming off of a win, and Sherman is coming off of a loss.
Well, I've never seen Parker Porter before. I've seen Chase Sherman fight before. I don't remember when or what happened, but again, a lot of these guys not familiar with. But Parker Porter, what is this? His debut?
You know, I'm not quite sure, but I think it is based off of his stats right here for significant strikes.
Okay.
And grappling. So I would say this is his debut.
Usually I think it says, but okay. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with Chase Sherman.
You know what? I am going to completely agree with you on that.
That's my best guess. He has a little bit of longer reach too. Maybe that'll matter.
Which is also a trip because Parker is 6 foot.
Yeah.
And he's 265. I'll be honest, if he could cut the weight even better, I'm pretty sure he can make 205. But he'd look pretty ripped. He'd have to really work on his body. No, I'm being honest. I'm a big dude. But I think he could get to 205, and I think he'd be probably a lot better there. Personal opinion, of course. Based on his height, yeah. Because most heavyweights are tall, like stupid tall.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
and so when a guy isn't that tall, like you're pretty sure he could go cut enough to go down in weight.
Yeah, you would think. Some people can't, but I know like for Muay Thai, just like based off some of the coaches that I've had, they do go off of height. They're like, "Oh, you're this tall, you should weigh in at this much," and you're like,
"That's it."
I think you would die if you tried that, but I don't know. I think
sometimes it works. Sometimes it does benefit the fighter, but not all the time. You know, it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's pretty rough when you're a taller or when you're shorter but bigger, because I guess technically you should be your weight should be, far less than, I don't know, but you never know. Goes based off your health. You can't go in there feeling like crap. So
very much so. And I'm sorry. Every time I see Parker Porter, I think of Peter Parker.
Oh, that's funny.
I almost want to read it like that too, even though I know that's completely wrong. All right, Clay Guida is on the card.
Oh no way, he's on the card.
We have the Carpenter versus Mark Matson, the Olympian.
Oh man.
I hope this record isn't right because that's really absurd. According to this, it is 36-17 against 2-0.
That's cool. Is this Clay Guida's last fight or something?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Matson is making his debut because he doesn't have any fight stats.
No, that's not someone you want to fight.
Yeah.
That's strange. Why is Clay Guida's face so close in this picture?
I don't know. It's the way that the page loaded. Let's
like,
try that again.
The other guy looks tiny.
Yeah, it's the way that it's set. It's the intent. It's also Clay Guida, and he's kind of an intense dude. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's why it's set like that. Like we're matching his intensity.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is so strange.
I'm taking Guida all the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is okay. We were just talking about, mixed matchups. I think this is the worst I've ever seen. This has to be the worst I've ever seen.
So I don't know anything about Mark Matson, let's be honest. Yeah, but they call him the Olympian. If this dude is like a silver medalist or any type of medal in the Olympics, or even an Olympian, like I feel like he should at least have 5 fights before he goes against Clay Guida, who has a wealth of experience. Although he is on the backside of his career, there's no title contention.
Guida, though. Come on.
You're right. Clay Guida, it's like he has a Duracell up his ass because that dude can go on forever.
He does. It's so strange.
So that's an interesting fight right there. Crazy. But that is the fight before the main event. And in the main event, we have Jared Cannoneer versus Kelvin Gastelum.
This is going to be great. I'm excited for this one. I love Kelvin Gastelum. I'm a huge fan. And Jared Cannoneer has been doing really well, too. So this should be really interesting.
13-4 against 17-7.
Hold on. 185. Where's this fight at?
Let's double check. Let's go back on that. Middleweight. So 185.
Okay, so Cannoneer's dropping weight.
Both fighters coming off of a loss.
Yeah. I got Kelvin Gastelum on this one.
Gastelum is better in the grappling department.
Yes. Do you remember Jared Cannoneer? Do you remember him fighting?
I have seen him before, but you pick Gastelum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick Cannoneer just to be different.
I wonder if it's because of his loss. I wonder if it's because of his loss that he's dropping down to see what he can do at middleweight. But
wouldn't be shocked by that. That does happen.
Kelvin Gastelum's been middleweight for a long time, though, so he knows what he's doing there.
But can he still make weight? Because Homeboy's had some problems.
He has had some problems, but man, he's had some great dude. His fight resume is insane by now. All these
that's true. He has fought some
and he's done
good
so
fighters.
Well.
Yeah,
like I think there's a couple where they argued he could have gotten it and it just didn't go his way. But man, he's had some crazy fights. So this should be a good fight here, I think.
Completely agree. So those are our picks for the UFC Fight Night that's going on tomorrow night. So we look forward to that. Continuing on with news in MMA, as always, Yoel Romero has a fight. His fight with Rumble Johnson fell through a while back, and now he's going to be competing September 18th against Phil Davis. So you take one great fighter, and that falls off, and he's going to be competing against another great fighter. So
yeah,
I definitely look forward to that. That's going to be taking place up north from us in San Jose. And you were talking about maybe even trying to go to that.
You know, I'm going to try to go. That sounds great. That fight card sounds great. Not including a local that we may or may not have on that card. I'm pretty sure that's going to come through. So we'll find out.
Well, he announced it on his Instagram. So
okay. Well,
he said he's Big Al Gonzalez is going to be on that card as well. So we look forward to that. Definitely, especially seeing a local guy competing. We love it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can. Hopefully we'll see what happens. We will try to get him on the show and have a conversation with him about his preps for this fight and the adversity that he's faced in his career. Al, if you're listening, contact us. If not, we will be contacting you pretty quick.
Yeah. But also, man, that makes it the most exciting fight card because I always love, especially like someone like Big Al, where, we're from the same kickboxing gym too. So pretty close there. And I've always tried to make his fights. And for the most part, I have. And being that he's on that fight card is great. Honestly, I think the last fight card he was on, not the last one, but the one before that where he had that, atrocious injury to his leg was the Grand Prix for the heavyweight. So he's made it on some really great cards. So it made it that much better to go. I would have gone either way, but the fact that he's going to be on that card makes it really great. And then also, I love Phil Davis. Also, Yoel Romero would be great to see live. So I think that
would be awesome.
I'm going to try to make that a priority. That'd be really great to be able to go. San Jose is pretty close, so that'd be really good. Completely
agree. Especially with the Olympics just happening, and we have Yoel Romero, who was an Olympian. So adds to it, of course. And then now we have Scott Coker talking about why he chose, or why it was matched up, Fedor versus Tim Johnson. Fedor, a while back, announced that he was going to have another fight. And just recently it came out that he's going to be fighting Tim Johnson. And I think people did expect Fedor to fight another legend or another higher profile fighter, but I think it's still going to be interesting.
Who hasn't Fedor fought already? I mean, honestly, he's fought a lot of people.
That's true, and Fedor, after he started stumbling and getting his losses, you kind of knew that he wasn't going to be in title contention anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Fedor, huge Fedor fan still.
Yeah, me too.
I'm always excited to see him fight. I actually hope he wins, since I like him so much. There's that stoic look, so I hope he does win. We'll talk more about this as that fight comes closer.
Yeah, I wish he would stop. I don't know why he keeps fighting. It gets hard to watch your hero take those risks still when it's like, come on, dude, your legend's in stone already. You're good. I just wonder why these guys keep doing it. He might have some better luck against Tim Johnson, but maybe not. It is still Tim Johnson, by the way. I know.
Yeah, he's 3-3 in Bellator and 15-7 in MMA overall.
Yeah.
So, no, you're right. It is what it is.
Who else would you rather have him fight, though?
I'd rather see a better because fight. It's Bellator and we've seen some crazy matchups as it pertains to fight records. Let's just put him in against a guy who's just literally making his debut. First fight out the gate. Dude, guess what? You get to fight Fedor. This is your chance. This is your chance. You get to make a name.
It's do or die. You might die.
No, that'd be atrocious.
God.
And
apparently
part of me
likes that kind of thing.
part of me would watch that. Now, we also have some PFL news. Clarissa Shields has her second fight, and it's going to take place on October 27th in Hollywood, Florida, against Abigail Montez. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, we've discussed Shields many times.
Yeah.
And her recent win, Montez,
she's pretty good.
Is 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And she's only 21. Wow, she's young.
That is so young. I think Clarissa Shields might definitely have this one. I know she's new as well to MMA, but this may be a really, really good fight, or Clarissa Shields may just, dominate right away. I think that's what's going to happen, but
I hope so. But I'm glad hope that she's been able. I hope she's taking they're matching her up with people that are also on a similar fight record.
They're properly matching them up.
But I'm hoping that in her training camp, she is also really working on her jiu-jitsu. She needs some type of ground game because you saw that her ground wasn't very strong. And so hopefully they have developed some type of system to really help her.
What's really cool though is, you saw that obviously she doesn't have that much experience on the ground. She looked a bit lost, but she fought so hard that it didn't matter because she powered through it, which is great. But can you imagine if she had some technique behind there where she knew what to do, what moves to pull at the right time with that strength? Like, I think man, you wouldn't really have to do too much. You just got to do those basic fundamentals. And she, obviously she could power through it anyway. I think it'd be really great. Her future is so bright, and I like it because she's super young still. I think she's like 26, 27, but
yeah, she's still good for the fight game.
Man, and she's had so much experience already with, just boxing, but this is so cool to see. I think they're doing all the right things right now with how they're matching her up with who she's fighting and when. So I'm super excited to see this next one with her.
I completely agree, and I look forward to that in later October. Now, we have to get to it. You're not a fan, but I am, of freak show fights.
Yeah.
We have Tito Ortiz agreeing to take on Anderson Silva in a boxing match.
Okay.
I honestly, I would rather see them fight MMA.
Yeah, me too. What the hell, man?
This is more of a card like, okay, so when Mike Tyson came back to boxing and he fought Roy Jones Jr., that was an interesting fight, and people were excited about it. If these two fought, they haven't been gone long enough, like compared to Tyson. Tyson had been gone for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But they haven't been gone long enough in order for like those feels to come back to want to see them fight again. But yet I don't want to see them box. I'd rather see them do I'd rather see them do MMA.
You know what's strange?
Hell, I would rather watch them grapple. I think a grappling match between these two would be dope.
Anything but boxing, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Because that's not really the forte. I mean, Anderson Silva does have some strong Muay Thai, and he has had a boxing match that he won. But I would definitely prefer to see him in an MMA setting or even a grappling setting. But for some reason, even Muay Thai. Let him do Muay Thai. But boxing, man.
Or just kickboxing.
I feel like it's going to be because most boxers, at least from what I've seen in my experiences covering combat sports, boxers are fast, insanely fast. Yeah. And MMA fighters don't have that same type of speed.
They don't.
There's some fighters that have quicker striking.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. And for some reason, this fight doesn't excite me.
Boxers have insane footwork, and that's where it all comes from, is your footwork. But your hips have that fast twitch motion of switching sides, going around the outside, taking angles, quickly, and then going to the body and then the head. They're so fast. And then I noticed with all these weirdo boxing matches where guys that aren't boxers are trying to box, they're a bit slower, two different body types too. Also, that reminds me of Clarissa Shields. She's been a boxer, and then you see her do MMA, and you can kind of see the stiffness in her hips.
You can see that she is still developing.
Even when she just sprawls, you can see the stiffness where it's just not. She hasn't been doing it that long. She's been a boxer where her hips are square. She's shifting back and forth, switching stances and stuff like that. Kind of reminds me of like Mike Tyson, how fast he is in switching, taking those angles for those body shots. The MMA fighters don't have that naturally. It's something they have to work at, but especially with these guys that have already retired from MMA, I don't want to see them box. I'd rather see one of them fight another boxer. I don't want to see them both box each other.
I don't want to see it, like I said earlier, I don't want to see them box each other. I would like to see a grappling match. I think that's an interesting dichotomy because Tito did use quite a few submissions and had good wrestling because you grew up being a wrestler, and you have Anderson Silva who has that jiu-jitsu background. So I think that's why I want to see them grapple, because that's where they're better versed compared to boxing.
Would make way more sense than what's going on right now.
Exactly. But the grappling, or the boxing, I should say, is just not. No, because they're not playing to their strengths.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm like, I'm not sold on it. Will I hear about it? Yeah. If I see highlights, cool. This is not a fight I'm buying into.
Yeah. I just an MMA fighter against a boxer is more appealing than two non-boxers boxing. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know if this is some kind of some kind of thing where they want to save boxing by bringing on more viewers, by taking the MMA guys that want to fight still and make some money and making them box.
It feels like that. It feels like they're trying to venture into a unique audience, because you still have these boxing promotions, and there are quite a few boxers, yet we aren't seeing these crazy fights. I think that's what they're really selling, are crazy fights. Given I do love freak show fights,
yeah,
I'm not excited about that. But it is on the it's part of the undercard for De La Hoya versus Belfort.
Again.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to buy this fight. Like, they're not going to get my money.
Yeah. No,
I mean, the only people that really get my money is my mortgage company. That's about it. But
yeah.
and whatever bills I have to pay.
Yeah.
Yet I will watch the highlights, and we will, of course, discuss it, because it's big news every time they do something right now.
Well, you know what? The fact that it's on that card makes a little more sense, because I feel like that fight card's maybe dedicated to those type of weirdo fights. And yeah, throw them on there. Maybe that's what it is. Make more money. Throw them on there.
And with this card, they do seem to be catering to the MMA crowd as well as a type of boxing crowd.
I think a lot of the boxing crowd went to MMA anyways, and I think they're like, okay, well, that's clearly the thing. Let's bring it back. Let's get them more interested. Let's take all their old fighters, offer them a lot of money and a one-time, two-time
huge payday, let them go
and see what happens. And you got all these old retired boxers that think they still got it. They can still do it, and a lot of them can. But
some do. Some got that speed still. It's ridiculous.
Talked into doing this, and I think a lot of people are actually trying to get in on these fights. I think there's a lot of retired fighters that are like, oh, I'll just do boxing. I'll have that. Let's do that. That's a good option, and a lot of people are doing it. Even Conor McGregor did it in the height of his MMA career.
That dude can sell a fight, though. It doesn't matter. That dude can sell a fight. His trash talk, as my buddy Motz would say, he's a black belt in talk shih tzu. So
they had an entire tour around cities of just them on stage, just going at it.
Yeah.
It was cringy. Oh, it was so cringy, but man, they made the most out of it for sure.
That they did. But as it pertains to this, if you want to watch young up and coming boxers, don't watch Triller fights.
Oh,
watch actual boxing cards on ESPN, promoted, the different promoters that they have. I don't know if Goose and Tudor's still around, or even Top Rank. Watch that.
Oh yeah.
Don't watch Triller for up and coming fighters. Let's just be honest.
No, Triller. Whenever I see that name, I'm like, oh, what are they doing now?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then I thought Anderson Silva was supposed to fight someone else. Was that not gone through? Was it one of the?
He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and beat him. That was his boxing match that he had. I don't recall if he had another fight lined up until it was announced that he's going to be taking on Tito Ortiz.
Okay, I could be getting all these guys mixed up, because they are doing a lot of these old fighters trying to get fights. But
if they ever had Vanderlei Silva fight, I won't lie, like, I'd kind of be interested, because I'm a huge Vanderlei fan. By the way, nicest fighter I've ever met. Nicest guy.
Really? He was?
Oh, he was awesome. All right, I'll try to make this story quick. He was cornering one of his fighters at Tachi Palace when they were having Tachi Palace fights, and I actually tweeted him like, "Hey man, I'm going to be at the fights. Can I get your autograph on your action figure?" And he responded, and I tried to, I read it in very his broken English, like, "Yes, my friend, yes."
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
"Ah." And so I did. I was lucky enough to be able to have backstage access, and I was able to meet Vanderlei, and he signed my figure, and I took a picture with him, and I have the biggest shit-eating grin, because I am like, ah. Yeah, it was really awesome.
Cool.
It's great when fighters that you absolutely love are awesome people.
I know, right? A lot of them are so shitty in person,
There hasn't been very many times I've met shitty fighters. people that just have a shitty attitude towards you.
Fighters in general are usually pretty good people outside. I mean, like, you know, they always say you don't want to meet your hero type of thing. I think maybe that pertains more to actors.
I think you're right.
I think fighters, they tend to be pretty good people outside their facade that they try to put on for their character or whatever they're trying to do.
Also, I also think that with fighters are going to be well known and popular at a fight.
Yeah.
A fighter on the street, a super fan might know who they are.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But the general public has no clue.
They don't know. Yeah,
so I think they are a little more humbled in that way.
Yeah, and then I think some of them are like surprised to be stopped and asked for a picture, you know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, though. I like that. Let's keep it that way, you know?
Right? Oh, man. If I ever got the chance to meet him again, I'd still be over the moon. The one fighter I'd really like to meet, if I ever have the chance, I hope he'd be awesome to meet, is Boss Ruben.
Oh, yeah. I think he's a good guy. I mean,
he seems like it. And Godspeed and party on. You know? El Guapo always says. Anyways.
I love Boss Ruben. He's cool.
I do too. Cool I think he's great. All right. Let's continue on with some more mainstream stuff going on. If you're in the Central California area, 559 Fights is taking place this weekend in Visalia at the Valley Strong Ballpark where the Rawhide play. They have quite a few fights. I think their next few cards are going to be taking place at the ballpark, which is a great venue, especially for MMA. I've been out there once or twice. It's a really good venue for that. And it's 559 Fights. They put on really good amateur fights. So I highly recommend people go. But if you know somebody that's going to be competing on another, I guess you'd say, rival company that's going to be having fights next weekend, it's Valley Fight Series.
Yes.
And I've only been to one, and that was a long time ago. They've been kind of off and on. This is VFS 6, and it's going to be taking place at the Wake House in Reedley, which isn't too far from where I'm located in Fresno, or where we're located, I should say, because you are also in the area. So if you want to support local fights, if you're in Central California, this is the chance to do it. There are 2 fight cards coming up this week and next, and go do it. Go see some live fights. They should be awesome. They should also, I believe they're both going to have grappling matches involved.
They do,
definitely looking forward to that.
They do. I just found that out too. Coincidence. One of my physical therapists is actually competing in a jiu-jitsu match. So they are, I believe they're doing that first, I think, and then they'll have the MMA, or I'm not sure what the schedule is, but they are having that as well.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. And that's what we got for local stuff, at least local for us. Like I said, you know, we try to cover MMA mainstream stuff, but yet for the people that know us and know where we live, we do try to focus on some local stuff for our area as well. If there's anything you guys ever want to ask us about, please feel free to comment during the show or contact us after the fact, and we will definitely bring it up, discuss it. All right. I think that's all we have for this week in the world of mainstream MMA. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I got nothing.
All right, folks. Enjoy the fights this weekend. If you get a chance, go check out the local fights, and we will see you guys next time.